episode 0 or 1. I kind of want to call it 0 just to annoy MJ, who's done the thumbnail for it. But yes, welcome to the first ever, the inaugural episode of FRUK Unwrapped : TV Dinners. TV Dinners was just a silly little idea that popped into my head a few months ago. Basically, I thought, what other shows can we throw onto the FRUK Unwrapped network? And I had the idea that we could sit down, individually watch a TV show or something on the interwebs about food, something food related, cookery, etc., and then just meet for 10-15 minutes and chat about the episode, talk about whether we liked it, whether we didn't like it, what the food was like, etc. This is the first episode. However, episode 2 onwards will be part of the new and revamped, new and improved.
Yeah, very much improved.
Yeah, new formula, new recipe Patreon.
More content, cheaper, better.
Correct. So if you like this and you want to hear more of these episodes, and I sincerely hope you do, head on over to Food Review. No, that's not what we want you to go to. Patreon.com//Food Review UK, where you can sign up to the
silver tier.
Silver top one.
Get the diamond tier. You might as well. It gets you everything. But if you just want this and a monthly Q&A, monthly live Q&A, then you only need to get the silver tier, which is just $1.
$1. That is all our time is worth. $1, so 33 cents each per. Well, if we did this for 15 minutes, I guess across an hour, we're looking at $1. I'm worth $1.33 per hour, and I think I'm being overpaid. Anyway, let us get on with the show. I'm going to head over to Michael, who picked the first episode for us to enjoy with our eyes and ears. MJ, what did we watch this episode?
First of all, I wanted to select something that I've watched recently. In actuality, I probably watched this episode about a year ago when it came out. But I also wanted to choose...
Very recent.
Correct. I wanted to choose a brilliant show. Just to clarify, I did rewatch the episode today because I have a very bad memory and I would have forgotten every single second of it. It's the Chef Show, and it is... I think it's one of the best food shows ever made. I think there's a shout that it is actually the best food TV program ever made. I'm going to gush about it in a second, though. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. Stuart, did you already watch it beforehand?
I'd watched it when it first came out. When was it? A year ago, 18 months ago. I watched this episode, and I probably watched a further 3 or 4 episodes, and then just tapped out, fizzled out.
Wow!
But I certainly did watch this episode. I expected to love this show because the film Chef, I think, is an absolutely masterful piece of filmmaking, and I really like Jon Favreau. And I did enjoy this program, but for some reason, when I'm sitting down to watch a thing on Netflix, like watching a food show, never tends to be the thing. I want a drama, I want a comedy, I want a movie. So
okay.
I'm logging onto Netflix at like 8:30, 9 o'clock after my son's gone to bed, and watching a food thing maybe isn't always top of my list.
I understand that. The time of day can have a big effect. Claire and I like watching food things whilst we're eating, particularly. I think that works well.
Yeah. It's not really suitable for family viewing though, because it's quite sweary.
Oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about that angle. Yeah. Mate,
massively
what was your...
sweary. Yeah. Massively sweary. It's offensive. I think it should be banned.
Yeah.
I had never watched this ever. This is literally my first experience of the show. Like Stuart, though, I was a big fan of the film. Chef is just beautifully shot, great food, great fun. So I don't know why I never really gave this a chance. It certainly wasn't like an active dislike or desire not to watch it. It's just one of those things that just never really. I never found a right time to actually just start it. So I'm glad that and the point of this show that we're recording now is to give an opportunity for us and also viewers a reason to maybe watch these shows. So this was it was good for me to actually finally have a reason to stick it on and watch episode 1 of The Chef Show. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. So I guess for those that are if they haven't watched it yet, obviously Jon Favreau essentially does a lot of cooking with his chef buddy Roy Choi. Was that his name?
I think so. Yeah.
It's a great name.
Roy Choi. Yeah, I mean, it certainly rolls off the tongue. Who I should have done some research on him, but I think did he start off as a food van chef?
Kogi food van, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
And started working on I don't know if it was this episode or another one, but started working for on the Iron Man set.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably where their love for each other was born. And yeah, they cook some amazing dishes. I think they probably do 2 or 3 per episode, but from what I've gathered, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode, we saw they also put in some celebrity pals. This episode, who do we see?
Oh, Paltrow. See, this is my one. Right. How on earth, you'd think, right, new show.
Paltrow isn't in episode 1.
Really likeable. What?
Paltrow isn't in episode 1.
Gwyneth Paltrow's certainly episode 1.
Yeah, she is, mate. You've watched the wrong episode, haven't you?
I mean, I literally asked you guys earlier if I was watching the right episode. No, I watched episode 1, Hot Luck. That's episode 1.
Oh, is that why you said Hot Luck? Oh, God, no. Definitely.
Did you guys watch like season 2, episode 1?
No, we watched season 1, episode 1.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Cool.
Bill Burr.
I knew this was... Do you know what? I knew this was going to happen. I knew that one of us would end up watching the wrong fucking episode.
This is why
What a turd.
Messaged to see. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, that's a fucking piss take. I've watched the season finale, ain't I? Well, at least...
Oh, God. Now the rest of the season's not going to make any sense.
At least I've seen it before, so I do remember the Gwyneth one.
Well, right. Here's my problem then, right? New show starting. Right. And I can't be alone in finding Gwyneth Paltrow just unlikable anyway. Okay? So they've got Gwyneth Paltrow...
I detested her before she did Pepper Potts.
Well, I mean, right, here's the thing, though. I detest her even more because of this. I have an issue with Gwyneth Paltrow and her food-based stuff because Goop is not an acceptable name for a food show or a food brand. That is not acceptable. The food that Roy Choi cooks, this Pepper Pot, which is just some green soup, which all they seem to be able to say about it is it's too spicy. But the thing that kills it for me is where Pepper Potts, or Gwyneth Paltrow, whatever she's called, shows complete and utter disdain for any fans of the MCU by not realising that she was in Spider-Man Homecoming. She is phoning in those performances to such an extent that she didn't realise she was in a Spider-Man film. She's just turning up and phoning in a scene, and she doesn't even care what the movie is. What a horrible human being, and that food that they made was minging. I'm sure it tasted nice, but...
Yeah, I will say this. I thought it was a brave choice. Now, I get that they might be good friends and whatnot, and there must be a lot of fans out there of Gwyneth Paltrow, as much as she has a negative fan base on the internet. I don't mind her too much. I don't love her by any means, but I certainly don't hate her to the point that you guys do. But I do think it's very brave, new show, to your first person that you have, literally the first guest star that you've got is Gwyneth Paltrow. Bearing in mind, they must have all been filmed roughly around the same time, so there's no continuity needed with this show. Episode 2's got Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland in. Like, show that one first. I mean, 2 of the most famous people and loved people in the world.
Correct.
So yeah, I did think that starting off with Gwyneth Paltrow was quite a brave and interesting choice. And then, like you say, the dish itself, I'm sure it tastes lovely because I'm sure this guy's an amazing chef and knows his food combinations, etc., etc. But it was just a green soup that just didn't look particularly appetizing. It didn't jump off the screen at me and think, oh God. Laura makes a
green soup.
Sorry?
A green soup.
Yeah. No, she makes a Caribbean pepper pot stew, which looks completely different. Now, it's a meat one versus a vegetarian one, but it looks completely different. So I'd be interested to know what the the differences, like why it's such a difference in color and texture, like seems completely different. But
so I watched the wrong episode, which is embarrassing. Like I said, I do remember that episode, and I do remember that idiotic comment that she didn't realise she was in Spider-Man, which just fumes me. But so I guess I want to speak generally about the show and just sort of my advertisement.
Probably not what the show's format is, but go on.
Well, my advertisement comments for why I feel we should watch the show is you see it's quite raw. Like you see a lot of the raw, like as it goes kind of action. It is incredibly well shot in ultra crisp high definition. I would say food has never looked better. There's few shows where the food looks as intricate. It's an eclectic mix of characters, and the passion really comes through. And it's almost a bit of a documentary mixed with a normal sort of food with recipe show. I think it's tremendous.
It is. I am intrigued as to what this is intended to be, because it's not a cooking show in terms of like it doesn't give you any recipes. Yes, there's like we didn't mention this. There's cute. I love the cute little animation like that. You've got like a stop. What's it called? Stop action.
Stop motion.
Stop motion. That's it. Stop motion. Food van that's driving through, and then every dish that they make just before they start cooking. There's like this cute little explosion of the dish, and it sort of like breaks down into the various components, and you see all of the ingredients that are in this dish. But it doesn't give you any idea really of how much you're supposed to be putting in or how long you should be cooking or anything. So it's not a cookery show in that it's trying to teach you how to cook these dishes. It's basically for food pornists.
Yeah, it's food porn.
Yeah. Food enthusiasts.
Yeah. Thrown in with a little bit of celebrity action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I could definitely see the appeal of it, but having heard so many people rave about it for the last year or so, I can't say that I was like immediately hooked. Like it's a great show. It is well shot. It is like amazing food being prepared. Like the second dish that they made, the Cubano sandwiches.
Oh my god, that pork, that mojo pork.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you familiar with Bill Burr?
That's actually one of the questions. I know the name, and I know that he's been in various things, but he's not somebody that I'm particularly familiar with the work. I know his name. Being friends with Americans, they all rave about him and how funny he is and stuff like that. I think did he start as a stand-up comedian? I think he sort of transitioned into a bit of an actor and things like that.
Comes across really well in this, but not as well as that pork though. Oh.
No, the pork did come well. A lot of hassle for a sandwich, though, isn't it?
Well, my favourite bit in the entire thing was when they're making the mojo sauce for the marinade for the pork, and Roy's got all the ingredients laid out, and they're putting them into the blender, and he puts them in, and he goes, and here's a load of minced garlic, and Jon Favreau goes, "Why have you pre-minced it? What's the reason for that?" And he's like, I've got no idea why I did it. It's completely unnecessary preparation.
It is true, actually. I didn't really think about it, but you saying that and MJ saying about how raw it is, I thought the show was incredibly well polished. Probably that's maybe why it didn't grab me particularly because it's so polished. But equally, that they do chuck in little sort of almost outtakes like that. Like they didn't need to put in that. They could have just said minced garlic and left it in. Yeah. And then towards the end of this episode, when they're talking about beignets, and you can clearly tell that Roy Choi just didn't like what they made. And literally throws half of it back into the bin and is like, "What's it like?" Yeah, lost for words.
Yeah, because it is raw, but it is, as you just said, polished, and it's really well directed as well, and it's this really unique combination.
Yeah, I think they've got pretty good chemistry, and I think that Favreau is, I think, an incredibly likable guy. Or Choi comes across quite well without necessarily being hugely like an outlandish character or anything like that. You can tell the love he has for his food, but equally is just not like super anal about anything. Like he's happy to fly by the seat of his pants when it comes to like throwing things in and just mixing it and trying. But clearly wants to make things work. But then he is at times, like when they're doing the grilled cheese sandwich, and he's like just hovering, watching the cheese cook, and yeah. No, good show. Good show. I'm not sure that I will continue or not. I may do.
Would you
give it 1 or 2 more?
You're not
please.
tempted to dip in based on who the celebrities are?
Possibly.
Seth Rogen.
Definitely might watch that one. Probably. No. Probably one of the better ones. But no, I mean, yeah, then maybe that'll be my approach. That I'll dip into like the Downey Jr. and Tom Holland one and various other ones. I may watch the Hot Luck one so that MJ has got someone else to talk to about that episode. But no, overall good. I definitely wouldn't turn anyone off watching it, but I just don't know if it's the food show for me personally. Good food porn though, like that grilled cheese sandwich, man.
Yeah, does.
I will say, yeah. I just thought, not enough sourdough bread recipes in the world. So I love sourdough bread.
Mate, there's a whole episode about sourdough.
Maybe I'll watch that one. Does it happen to have anyone in it that I want to see? Or was it?
Watch all of them. There's only 20.
In season 1.
What would you, if you were to give it a FRUK related score from the well-known rating of -5 to +6, what would you give the episode, Stuart?
A 3. If I was rating it purely on the Cubano, and even the beignet thing at the end is just silly. I like it. I actually really like that because Jon Favreau, considering what a successful man he is and how he must be quite such a highly driven man, it's really nice to see that he's just a bit of a balloon as well. Like I based on those 2 segments, I really liked it. But I think based the Gwyneth thing, I think it was such an odd decision to start with her and that green soup that was too hot. I'm going to give it a 3 out of whatever it's out of 9. It's not a 3 out of 9 though, is it? Because it's -3 to.
Well, there's 0 as well.
It's -5 to +6, so it's out of 11. So it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 11, which is equally an 8 out of 11.
Well, there's a 0 as well, isn't there?
Probably like an 8 then, isn't it? Or a 7. I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
No, it's a 3 out of an 11. MJ, what would you rate that episode that you watched a year ago?
Yeah, so the first episode isn't the best, but I still loved it. I give it a 4. I gradually fell in love with it. I think episode 2 is amazing because it's got all the Avengers in, and then there's individual episodes like Seth Rogen and the sourdough, and they get better and better and better. But yeah, episode 1's a 4.
Sorry, you just cut off like really quickly there. I thought he was. I don't know. I would probably give it a low 4. Whilst saying it's not necessarily my bag, I think I have to equally acknowledge that it is a very entertaining show, and the food on show. This bearing in mind we had a soup that wasn't great, but the 2 sandwiches were food porn, and they were just sandwiches. I can imagine he does some even better stuff going forward.
It's a really eclectic mix of actual food producers they have on there as well.
Yeah, because I equally started watching the wrong episode because MJ said, "Oh, can we watch he said Chef ScarJo episode." So then I thought there must be an episode with Scarlett Johansson in. Episode 3 talks about Scarlett's pasta, so I assumed that Scarlett Johansson was in that. I literally got to 10 minutes towards the end. I'm like, she's still not turned up. She's one of the most famous people in the world, and she's not. And then I had to skim it and realise she wasn't in it. So I watched the wrong episode before I clarified. And even Stuart and I went Series 1, Episode 1, and MJ still decided to just pick Series 3, Episode 8 or 6.
Basically, what happened was I went through all of Netflix, and I found Season 1, and I basically went all the way to the bottom instead of going... Because it goes in like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I went to that bottom 1, which was actually 10. Or I don't know. I just said that, and that was wrong.
Yeah, correct.
What
hope have you guys got? So just to clarify, if you got to this point, Series 1, Episode 1, Gwyneth Paltrow and Bill Burr, Cubano.
That pork, though.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have, then please, as I say, please head on over to patreon.com/Food Review UK. where you will be able to sign up to the silver tier, and you'll be able to hear the rest of our TV dinners episodes.
Delia, you're on the list, bitch. Where are you? Let's be having you.
Imagine if she listened. No, you just called her. You just called her a bitch.
Well, I didn't.
In fact, yeah, Delia, if you are listening and you want to, come on and discuss MJ's foul language, then please do. Please email us at frukcast@gmail.com.
Bye.
Bye.